He's getting older.
You gotta be raping me!
Oh, hit the follow button!
But not wiser.
Pour some sugar on me!
This is The Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to The Lefty Show. I am your host, Lefty. Glad to be here with all of you today, Thursday, the 11th of September, in the year of our spaghetti monster, 2014. Welcome one, welcome all to The Lefty Show. Episode number 88 coming at you. I thank you all for watching, liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the show. Thank you to everybody that's been sharing the show with friends, family, and co-workers. It works to help out growing the show. You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts for your PC, mobile device, or tablet, Android or iOS. It doesn't matter. Go to the iTunes store, go to wherever you get your podcasts, and search The Lefty Show, and you will be sure to find us there. Thank you to everybody that has also been donating. I'mRaising.com/643 Productions is where you can go to find that. Thank you to everybody that's been following me on Twitter as well, at Lefty643 is where you can do it. It's Twitter.com/Lefty643. Today is a pretty big day here in America. Probably not really the rest of the world. I mean, the rest of the world should care, because what happened today 13 years ago, really the rest of the world is feeling that. I mean, they may not have been involved directly with what happened, but the reverberations have echoed in the last almost decade and a half across the globe, really, from what happened on September 11th, 2001. 13 years ago. Today's the 13th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks, and we shall never forget, so we're told. Everybody, it's one of those moments where everybody remembers where they were that day. Everybody remembers where they were when they first heard. There are only a few episodes like that in Americana. There's only a few. John F. Kennedy is one. Everybody remembers where they were when JFK was shot. Not alive. I remember exactly where I was, not alive. But everybody remembers where they were when they found out JFK was shot. He was an American hero. And everybody remembers where they were when they heard the president's address announcing the attack at Pearl Harbor. And everybody remembers where they were when they learned that, for some reason, a plane had flown into one of the World Trade Center towers in New York City. And then another one had flown into it, and everybody kind of realized, this isn't good. And every year around this time, it's usually a cascade of never forget, never let those images die. Those images of the burning towers, as tough as they may be to look at, the image of the falling man, the images of what transpired, the quote heroes that ran into WTC 1 and 2, I believe it was. And we're told to, remember, don't forget, never forget. And it's supposed to serve as a reminder that we are reachable. In fact, I'm not really sure what everybody's trying to get us to remember. Because to say never forget the pain, never forget the suffering, which I've seen a lot from people, never forget the pain that happened 13 years ago, that sounds like subtle fear-mongering to me. It sounds like you're trying to say, hey, don't forget, somewhere on this earth, at any time, somebody can come and get you. That's what it sounds like to me. Never forget that we can be gotten at any time. I say, well, that's not really cool, because you're just inciting fear in people. Now, that sounds a lot like fear-mongering, but I choose to remember it a different way. Of course, it's tragic. I have to get this out of the way because everybody's going to be looking out for this. Of course, it's tragic that so many people lost their lives in the 3,000 range, I believe. So many people lost their lives on that day. A couple hundred in the blink of an eye, and then or a few blinks of a few eyes, and then many more people as a result from the structural collapse of the World Trade Center towers. And no, I'm not a truther. No, I believe it was just the jet fuel coupled with the insulation on the trusses only went up so far, and it was blown off by the jets traveling at near 500 miles an hour, smacking into the side of a building. The insulation was blown off the trusses, and the compacted office materials, which was a lot of paper, a lot of plastic, got caught on fire. And then you could have like sort of a convection oven effect with an open thing. You got air flowing in, and it weakened the trusses. The hat truss redistributed the load, but one side of each tower was already the outside columns were already weakened because a plane had flown into them. And so when the hat truss tried to redistribute the load from the weakening trusses and the split core columns, it put it onto a part of the building that was never designed to. The building was never designed to fail so catastrophically, and the building subsequently collapsed. I'm not a truther. Don't freak out. And it's sad that happened. I remember watching it, and it was a very surreal moment, very surreal watching that imagery. And I will never tire of saying this. I remember I remember hearing about it in school, but I didn't know what had transpired until I got home from school that day. I was a freshman, I want to say, in high school, and watching the imagery of what had happened, because the towers had already fallen. And I don't remember seeing them necessarily, but just watching the imagery of the planes, and it was shown over and over from any angle people could find, and then the buildings falling. It was very surreal. You know, you see that stuff in movies. You've seen plane crashes in movies. You've seen buildings fall in movies. But watching it on a screen, on a two-dimensional screen, or even a cutesy little 3D tricking of your eyes and your brain, and hearing it in a Dolby surround sound setting is quite another thing than actually seeing concrete and steel and glass fall. We can recreate it fine from afar using computer technology, but actually watching that happen and knowing that this is real and those effects are real, it's a whole nother experience. And I say this again, not to necessarily sully those 3,000 people that died, but I choose to go with the never forget tag in a different direction. I want to go in a different direction with it. Not never forget what happened. Not never forget that the towers fell. Not never forget the people died. Not never forget the heroes that ran into the building to try to save people. Not that. I choose to go in a different direction. Never forget that as a direct result of this, we waged an undeclared war for years. Never forget that under the guise of protecting ourselves, we ordered airstrikes and later drone strikes against people that we had summarily judged to be guilty. U.S. citizens, even U.S. citizens abroad, we had summarily judged and executed with airstrikes and drone strikes, indiscriminately killing civilians, albeit on the other side of the planet. On the other side of the planet from the civilians that were killed on this fateful day 13 years ago, we engaged, we allowed fear and those images to rule our society for years. We allowed the threat of violence, the mere mention of violence, the mere idea of violence to wage an undeclared war, an illegal war. Illegal. The War Powers Resolution is 1, not an amendment, and 2, unconstitutional. Congress never declared war on Iraq, never declared war on Afghanistan, never declared war anywhere else we've been. Never declared war on Syria, never declared war on Iraq again, never declared war on ISIS, never declared war on Pakistan. We just get in there and we're doing it. And you better deal with it because we need to protect ourselves from these 19 guys that there was a perfect storm of bureaucracy, infighting among intelligence agencies, and a kowtowed American public. Never forget that the war we waged as a result of those acts resulted in many thousands more civilians dying than died that day or as a result of injuries sustained on that day. We used our dead civilians as leverage to kill more civilians in an undeclared war than were ever originally killed. And we accept that. Never forget that the threat of terror, the threat of violence, again, even the idea of violence, was used to sell the American people, and the American people bought it. Never forget that we accepted enhanced interrogation techniques. We accepted waterboarding. We made a show of, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe this is not the best way to go about it. We still accepted it. We still accepted seeing the images of American servicemen and women posing with people detained on a, quote, battlefield, in a, quote, war zone. We accepted the images of people being hooked up to car batteries, blindfolded, made to masturbate, smell and touch menstrual blood because we wanted to feel better. Never forget that as a direct result of what happened 13 years ago today, we embarked on a journey that arrived us where we are now, where if you want to go get on a plane, there's a good chance, and if you don't want to accept short wave or low wave radiation or long wave radiation, if you don't want to accept that, if you don't want to accept that search without a warrant, you have to go get your genitals felt up by a government agent, again, without warrant and without probable cause. Never forget all that. Never forget that the very rights that we enjoy, the justice system that we hold up to the rest of the world and say, emulate this. Rule of law, personal freedom, individual liberty, coupled with a government whom you know will respond in a set way based on your laws. And we tell everybody this is what we should have. Never forget that was upended in the name of freedom, that was upended in the name of fear and warmongering, to the tune of people being held indefinitely without trial. U.S. citizens, some U.S. citizens, but that doesn't matter really, because if we hold up to the rest of the world our system of justice, if we tell the rest of the world this is how we think it should be done, then citizenship should not matter. Then that's an unnecessary boundary, because we want you to be doing this anyway, and to say, well, you're not a citizen, so we can do whatever we want to you if we suspect this, is erroneous. It's asinine. It's in fact contradictory, because, well, wait a second, you want me to be a part of this, but when it's convenient to you, you treat me as not a part of it and do whatever you want. Never forget that U.S. citizens, and again, non-citizens alike, never charged with a crime. Never charged with a crime. No access to an attorney. No access to the actual justice system. The best that many people could hope for was a military tribunal and then an execution. That's it. No justice system. No federal court. We believe you are guilty of something, but we're not even going to charge you with a crime. You're just going to go away to a special place where we can just do whatever we want. And you don't have to appear on a record. No habeas corpus. No nothing. We suspend all of that. in part because of what happened 13 years ago today. Never forget all of that. If you can swallow it all and you can still remember the tragic deaths of that day, fine. But I believe it to be more important, yes, more important than the 3,000 people that died, 3,000 plus people that died that day, and the perhaps thousands more that died as a result of the actions of that day in New York City and in Washington, D.C., in a field in Pennsylvania. I believe it to be more important to remember and never forget what we allowed to happen to us and what we allowed by at best passive indifference to happen to other people, perhaps in many innocent civilians throughout the world, on the other side of the world. Never forget what we allowed those in power, what we allowed power-hungry, rich people to do to us as a result of our fear. The lesson to take away from 9/11 is not be fearful of those around you, is not rampant paranoia, be paranoid. It's not even legitimate suspicion. The thing to take away is we should never again let fear come to rule the day as we did 13 years ago today. Because we let fear run, we let fear run wild. We went to old W and Cheney, and we said, here are the keys. Here you go. You do whatever you want. You wage war, drone strikes, air strikes, special operations, continued combat operations, no declaration of war, does not matter. Here you go do it. You don't think that an emergency session of Congress could have been convened? I mean, what was the time frame? What was the timetable between 9/11 and then boots on the ground and tracks on the ground in Iraq? Because keep in mind, Afghanistan wasn't the first place we went. We bombed there pretty much the day after it happened. Airstrikes were being flown. Military jets, military air-to-mud fighters would launch off the decks of aircraft carriers with white war shots on the rails and come back empty. Where were they going? Practice? But the first troops on the ground was Iraq, who had nothing to do with this. Nothing at all to do with what transpired. And we handed him the keys. You don't think an emergency session of Congress, even after that, could have been convened and said, declare war on Afghanistan because they're harboring them? Or Pakistan. We think they're in Pakistan. Tell Pakistan to give them up. Give them up. Give them up. Go find them. Find these people. Because these are the people our intelligence directorates say that these are the people that did it. These are the people that are behind it. And you are harboring them. Unknowingly or knowingly. You have 72 hours to arrest and produce them. Or at least arrest them and prepare them for extradition in the United States to face trial. That could have been done. 72 hours. Here you go. You know where they are. Do you honestly think Pakistan had no idea? Afghanistan, no idea where these people were? They knew where they were. Or at least had a good idea. You go, send your own guys, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, wherever. You send in your own people, arrest them, prepare them for extradition in the United States. That is our directive as the United States of America. And you are another sovereign. You are another sovereign. And you would be free to say no. Screw you, USA. Our sovereignty reigns supreme over your dead citizens, which is okay. Which would have been okay and still is to this day because you're a sovereign nation. Go ahead. Say no. But then, once you do, we are going to declare war on you. Because it's hard to declare war on Al-Qaeda. How do you declare war on Al-Qaeda and make everything that you have to do in war easy peasy? How do you make it kosher? It's hard. Certainly tried, and fear helped with that. But in a vacuum, how do you make How do you make war sound good if you're fighting a nebulous entity spread across multiple countries, regions, even the world? It's hard. But if you're after a few key people, certainly you want to cut the head off of, or the multiple heads off of the Hydra. When you say, hey, Afghanistan, Pakistan, 72 hours to produce these people. Go get them. Go get them. Because it wasn't 72 hours before we had troops on the ground trying to find these people. So you give that to the sovereign. Here you go. Go find them. Give them a chance to say no, or give them a chance to be a member of the international community and say, ho, 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 we don't deal with this. This is not what we signed up for when we, entered the world community. We're going to go find these people, and we're going to help bring them to justice. And then give them a chance to say no. And then say, okay, well, we are declaring war on you then. Or I, as the president, want to declare war. I'm going to ask Congress or direct Congress to declare war upon you, Afghanistan. Now, we're not going to raise your cities. We still have an idea of where these people are. Our intelligence and satellite stuff, we can have an idea of where they are. And we're going to go get them. This is not a war against your sovereignty. This is, we need to use war as a mechanism to legalize combat operations. It could have been done, but it wasn't. Why? Because it takes time. It's much easier to just say, they might have done it. Hey, remember the burning towers, the falling towers, the dead people? Yeah, these people might have done it. Oh, well, here you go. We gave the keys. Then they want a little more. And they say, well, they used planes to do this. And it would be much better if, if we made it a little bit harder to get on a plane. And by making it harder, we mean searching you more. We don't have a warrant to search you, but if we were able to do that, it would make things easier. Because the downside is fireball of death by jihadists. And we said, okay, because, fear, evil, the evil jihadists. And we said, okay. And now we live in a society where, story I'm going to talk about in the news later on the show, where all the stories you see, the militarized police forces of the United States of America, the MRAPs, the $5,000 assault rifles in every trunk of every cruiser, the body armor, the ceramic body armor, the military training, the SWAT training, the flashbangs, the tear gas, the potential pain ray that is being developed, the mobile handheld x-ray machine. All those things can trace their roots back to what many people will say never forget today. But in the cases of many, their use of the term or the hashtag never forget will be about something more visceral, will be about something more immediate. The deaths of innocent people. Never mind that the number of innocent people killed on the other side of the world in the name of what happened this day makes pale the number of innocent people that died on September 11th, 2001. Because many people have died on September 11th in the subsequent years, but they don't get added up. No. I'm talking about September 11th, 2001. Never mind that. They just say, never forget the hardship that we faced. Does it all seem necessary now? To do what? To get bin Laden 10 years later? 10 years later? We got him. You hand the keys. Say, we're gonna go get these guys. Okay, here are the keys. Screw it. The Constitution, war powers, Articles 1 and 2 of the Constitution, rip that crap up. Here you go. Go get them. 10 years later. Meanwhile, Kids can't post lyrics on Facebook without the fear of the Justice Department coming to arrest them and charge them with a felony. And it's all done in the name of fear. All done, well, somebody might die. Somewhere, at some time, somebody might die. Here's the thing I want to drive home to people on this day of days, where we try to remember hardship and never forget all these things. You need to make a decision as to what you want. You need to decide whether you want safety, true, absolute safety, or liberty. If you want true, absolute safety, liberty cannot exist. Cannot exist in any form. Now, that's an extreme, right? What would a society that is truly, absolutely safe look like? We can't do it. It's impossible. But on the extreme, they are inversely proportional. Safety and freedom, safety and liberty, individual liberty are inversely proportional. You want more of one, you have less of the other. The idea is, at least as I see our democratic republic from the founding document and the situation that necessitated the writing of that founding document, we want to err a little bit more on the liberty side. Safety, which is not to say we want to live in the proverbial Wild West where you can do whatever you want and it's just, it's individual liberty, a true libertarian utopia like on Fox. Not that. But, we want liberty in reasonable proportions. We want liberty to be what rules. We want liberty to be the predominant force in our society. Safety is reasonable, and we will truncate liberty where reasonable in order to protect safety. However, when the two are equal, we want to turn up liberty just a little bit. I thought that's what the whole idea was. I thought that's what we tried. That's what we wanted to do. But now it appears the equation has shifted. It's now, we like liberty. Liberty's good. It's good. Liberty's good. It's all right. But, safety sounds nice. And when it comes to liberty versus safety, I want safety to win out. And that's personal interest mixed with entitlement complex, mixed with people being all about things. People being all about your consciousness is tied to things, whether it be money, possessions, anything of the sort, clothes, houses, broads, or dudes, whatever your fancy is. People are all about the things, and they start to amass things. And then they say, it would really suck if all this went away. And by this, what they don't understand is they're talking about their consciousness, not the things. The things will be there. When you die because a terrorist comes and gets you, your house is still there. Your car is still there. It's not yours anymore. But you go away. What they're worried about preserving is access to things. I want to maintain my access to enjoy these things. And, it's easy to cry, to champion the cause of liberty. But when you have nice things, I don't want this to go away. I'd rather be safe. We've let people that have already won the proverbial race decide when the race should end. They won the race. They've got the money. They've got the things. They've got the stature, the power, whatever they want. Right? They have lived their version of the American dream. They own a house, car, maybe two, kids, a nice portfolio, a comfortable life. They have it. And they don't want it to go away. And so now they say, yeah, freedom was nice when I was doing all this stuff, when I was amassing these things or this prestige. freedom and liberty. That was nice. But now I've got it. Now I choose to lionize safety. Now I choose to be all about safety. Safety is all I want. I just want safety. And for the rest of us, those for whom maybe it does not matter our amassing of things, the aggregate number of shills in our bank account, we say, no, I want freedom. Freedom rules the day. Freedom is what individual liberty. Not absolute freedom, of course, because when you have absolute freedom, how much, if they're inversely proportional, if you have absolute, i.e. infinite freedom, how much safety do you have? You should know this. Basic math, kind of. And we've allowed the American populace, those who have amassed things, to say, that freedom thing, that liberty is nice, but safety's better. Never forget all that. That's how I choose to remember September 11th. That's how I choose to remember. That's how I choose to use never forget. Never on this day shall we forget what fear hath wrought. All right, let's do some news. We got some nice things to talk about. Talking about September 11th, there is a man accused of making terrorist threats for posting heavy metal lyrics on Facebook. This is from Mashable. Posting the lyrics of a song on Facebook could send you behind bars. That's what happened to a Kentucky man who has been jailed and accused of terrorist threats for posting the lyrics of a metal song to Facebook. James Evans, a 31-year-old from Central City, Kentucky, posted the verses of the Exodus song Class Dismissed on August 24th on his wall, including a verse that read, quote, "Student bodies lying dead in the halls, a blood-spattered treatise of hate. Class dismissed is my hypothesis. Gunfire ends in debate." Okay? Student bodies lying dead in the halls, a blood-spattered treatise of hate. Class dismissed is my hypothesis. Gunfire ends in debate. After someone reported his post to the police, agents arrested him and brought him to jail on August 26th. He was released a week later on September 3rd, according to records of the Muhlenberg County Detention Center. Police arrested him for threatening, quote, "to kill students and our staff at school," end quote, according to the arrest warrant seen by local TV station 14 News. Evans counters saying he only posted the lyrics of a song he liked on his Facebook wall. "It's surreal," Evans told Billboard. "I didn't think anything would come of it." So, we want to talk about what fear has wrought on society. That, well, individual liberty is nice, but safety is a lot better. And it's better that the government gets involved to ensure safety rather than to secure individual liberties and freedoms. From a post on a Facebook wall that was, unless there's another quote here that I'm missing, unless I'm missing the entire language of the post. He just posted the verses from a post that read thusly: "Student bodies lying dead in the halls, a blood-spattered treatise of hate. Class dismissed as my hypothesis. Gunfire ends in debate." From that, if that's just the post, just that, police arrested him for threatening, quote, "to kill students and staff at our school," end quote. That was on the arrest warrant. Does posting contextualist lyrics now constitutes a criminal threat for which you can be arrested? Personal liberty? What? What's that? Screw it. Safety. People are scared, man. We've been so browbeaten by fear. Fear has been used as a weapon, as a fist, so often against us. And we've allowed it to happen. We say, oh, yeah, I fear these things now. That we honestly look at a society, a situation in which somebody posts contextualist, no listing of no kind of intent whatsoever. No intent. Just student bodies lying dead in the halls of splattered treaties of hate. Class dismissed is my hypothesis. Gunfire ends in debate. What about that establishes intent of any kind? And yes, this man's liberty to post lyrics to his Facebook wall supersedes the possible threat that he may actually be amassing weapons and posting please come get me note. Because I'm going to do this tomorrow, but yes. Because the argument that, well, we just need to be sure about it, we just need to be safe about it, is exactly the problem. Exactly the problem. That is the line of thinking that, we don't have a warrant to feel up the genitals of these children, but we just need to be sure that they are not containing plastic explosives. Now, we don't have a warrant, and we don't have probable cause, and you are entitled to those protections under the Constitution, but we just need to be sure of this and that. Please let us, we got to feel up your kids' genitals. And the notion of, well, you just need to be sure is what allows for that to happen. And to say nothing of the fact that there was, was there no investigation? Was there no actual police work done? Nobody copy pasted that post into Google to see if it was from anything? Because if they didn't, well, that's scary. Because the police will just come and get you. Now, and the other thing was the article specifically made a distinction between police and agents. Okay? Police and agents. The state, as I understand it, doesn't have, they do have, agents in the legal sense, but people with arrest authority are not necessarily referred to as agents on the state level. This tells me that it was federal agents who came to arrest this guy. Who's, oh, by the way, 31 and not even a student at a school. Come on. Hey, how old is this guy? We think he's threatening to kill children at our school. Oh, so you think it's another school shooting? Yeah. Well, is he a student there? Well, he's 31. Oh, so he's not. Yeah. Well, maybe we should Google what he wrote down to see if it's from anything, because he might be quoting something, this or that. Oh, get out of here, Johnson. We don't have time for your investigative process. We just need to go arrest people and figure it out. A warrant will be issued for your arrest without anybody taking the time to go, maybe we should investigate this a little bit. We've gotten to let's just arrest people and figure it out later. Just arrest them. What is that? Domestic violence? Arrested. He hit me. Oh, God, arrest him. Oh, you're not a real man. I think I might have been raped. Oh, well, we need to arrest sexual assault. Bam, slap the irons on him. Give him the bracelets. That's become our browbeaten with fear society. And if the cops actually investigated and said, oh, these lyrics are from an Exodus song, and they still wanted to arrest him, that means quoting people now is a criminal offense. That are you not to provide context to your quote, you are a criminal, or you are making a criminal threat. That's what that says. And there are, if you find this story anywhere where these stories are discussed, I guarantee you will find people who say, well, those words sure sounded scary. Yeah. Well, and maybe, it was a better idea to arrest him and just see what's what. Never mind that this 31-year-old guy was held for a week. A week. Because, we don't know. Maybe he's he's a bad guy. I don't know if he's a bad guy. Is he a bad guy? He might be a bad guy. For a week. Never forget. In financial news here, this is more of a not the USA sucks society. And I wanted to wrap up the 9/11 talk by saying this. I rally against the Pledge of Allegiance because I've been more open about that recently, about the brainwashing of students and the like. And I urge other people to not forget all the things that came from September 11th. And I don't forget them, obviously. I'm not standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, not standing for the Star-Spangled Banner, the national anthem. I'm done standing for God Bless America. I'm done watching all these flag-waving things, all these people that are brought out before sporting events, before big events, salute to this, salute to that. I mean, I'll still watch the flyover of the F-16s because that's cool. I mean, those are still, they may have an ugly purpose, but man, that's cool. That whole thing, I mean, we figured out flying, but then we figured out if you compress this really volatile thing with air a little bit, and then you put it in like a turbine or use a turbine to compress it, and then you just, and it goes really fast, and it's got computers, and I mean, even the missiles, really ugly purpose, but still, they shoot out radar signals, and then they get a return, and the computer, the seeker head is smart enough to differentiate between the cosmic microwave background radiation and the return signals, and all this cool stuff. I'll watch that, but I'm done signifying the love of this country. I mean, I still like this country. It's nice. It's good. It's good. But if you stand today, I won't extend this to every day, but today, of all days, September 11th, for however long this will probably be a day that will live in infamy forever. For as long as America stands, America will remember 9/11. If on this day, going forward, for however long you live, every single year, if you stand on this day and you salute the flag, the armed services, the government, if you do that, I'm not saying you're a bastard. I'm not saying you're an evil person. You're not. Just know that you are supporting not only the guys that signed up and then were shipped off. Because, okay, they gotta follow orders. And if I'm going to call Nuremberg a farce because the threat of superior orders or what is it? Anyway, the threat of violence, the threat of death. You should have, if I'm going to call Nuremberg a farce because, well, that's a pretty serious tool used to make underlings follow your orders. If I'm going to call that a farce, all right, well, guys that are told to kill brown people and they are treated as treasonous if they don't do it. I'm sorry, man. And combat's a bitch. And that's as simplistic as I can get as being somebody who's never been in combat. I can completely sympathize with somebody who's been in combat, though I cannot empathize. Combat is awful. It's awful. It's awful. It's the most awful thing you could ever put a human being through. Okay, sure. I won't argue. And I'll feel bad for the troops on the individual level. But beyond that, standing, saluting, singing God Bless America, wrapping yourself on a flag on this day, you are supporting. You may be supporting the troops in your own mind, and you are, and okay, and that's noble. You're also supporting drone strikes. You're also supporting the indiscriminate killing of civilians. You are also supporting the judge, jury, executioner routine on United States citizens abroad. We believe you to be guilty of this crime. We're not going to charge you. We're not going to hold you. We are not going to try you. We are just going to kill you. You support waterboarding. You support enhanced interrogation techniques. You support making people masturbate to humiliate them into telling you stories or telling you whatever you want to hear. You support holding people indefinitely without charge, without trial. You support all of it. All of it. You're standing, you're saluting, you're singing today. You cannot pick and choose what it supports. You cannot say, well, I like this, but not that stuff. Oh, not that stuff. No. You stand for it today. You stand for all of it. And if you're okay with that, okay. You stand for, I don't have a warrant of probable cause, but dress down, citizen. Show me your papers. You stand for that. That's what you stand for if you stand today. And again, if you're okay with it, well then okay. I'm not gonna say boo to you. I think it's wrong. I think it's awful, which is why I don't stand today. I mean, I don't stand very much anyway, but I don't stand for the flag. I don't salute the flag. I don't sing the songs. I won't be caught up in the hysteria of Love America Day. Never Forget Day. I'm not going to do it. And if you don't want to support all those awful things, then you better not stand either. Otherwise, you're no better. You're no better than the free market economists, the people that ascribe to the free market idea, but only throw their hat in the ring for the good ones. They say, well, free market will be good for this area, that. Okay, and they say, well, there are some definite downsides to the free market. They say, what? That can't possibly be. Friedman. Oh, my God. I love it. Get out of my mouth. You say, well, there are some definite downsides, because in a truly free market, people are free to exploit things and hurt people as a result of their freedom, their absolute freedom in the market to act within these, free labor market. Well, you got people working for $1 an hour. You've got children working. They say, well, wow, of course that's wrong. That's not what free market says. I said, well, what? We had a free market before, and that's what happened. Well, no. Well, the government should step in then, and you should, there will be rules, there will be boundaries. So then I say, well, then it's not a free market, right? Well, you're no better than that. You're just picking and choosing. You pick the good parts because there's definite upsides to. There are definite upsides to being patriotic, just like there are definite upsides to a free market, to the free market ideology, to certain aspects of a free market economy. Certainly, undoubtedly, yes. There are also downsides too. And if you stand in the absolute for free market economics, well, you stand for those downsides too. And you better say, yep, we just got to hope it won't be too bad. Because to say, well, well, you're not really standing for free market. You're just standing for the good things of free market economics. So if you stand today for America, you stand today for patriotism, you stand for all of it, buddy. Not just the good parts. Not just the I'm coming home commercials. Not just that. No. You stand for what that guy did before he came home. You stand for just grabbing brown people, throwing them on a board, putting a cloth over their mouth, and just pouring water into them to simulate the feeling of drowning so that they'll freak out and tell you whatever you want to hear. And then act on that to call it a drone strike and kill more people. Judge, jury, executioner. You stand for that. You stand for the entire timeline, not just the nice when he comes home from battle, from combat, and he sees his wife and his daughter, and it's, oh, everybody's so happy. I'm coming home. Tell the world. His dogs are all happy. Oh, yeah, that's really nice. It's really nice. But you stand today, you stand for all of it. Everything. You better be okay with it. All right, in other news, more millennials, this is from Yahoo Finance. More millennials are saying no to credit cards. 27-year-old Omaha, Nebraska resident Erin Duffy has never had or even wanted a credit card. I've been able to get along without it, she says, attributing the choice to ambivalence and a wariness of plastic her parents fostered in her during fostered in her during her formative years. I've liked being able to pay for things as I go, not having to worry about missing a bill. Duffy's decisions to live without credit cards is more common than you may think. A whopping 63% of millennials, ages 18 to 29, don't have a credit card, according to a survey commissioned by Bankrate and compiled by Princeton Survey Research Associates International. I'm a millennial? Damn it. Comparatively, only 35% of adults 30 and over don't have credit cards. There are, admittedly, external factors influencing the statistics. In April 2014 Gallup poll found Americans' reliance on credit cards in general has declined steadily since the Great Recession. Moreover, the Credit Card Accountability, Responsibility, and Disclosure Act of 2009, or CARD Act, made it harder for anyone under 21 to get a credit card. Are we really at the point in legislation where we have to make like crazy titles of legislation so that they come out as some cute, nifty little acronym? Did that happen before? That's an honest question. That's an honest question to anybody with historical knowledge of these kinds of things. Did that happen before? Was that a thing before? Like in the 1800s when they were passing legislation, like, we need to make this come out so that it's an acronym. Because, made it harder for anyone under 21 to get a credit card. There's also a more straightforward reason why a majority of millennials aren't carrying the payment method. Many, like Duffy, just don't want credit cards. I don't really feel like there's a need for one in the way I live my life, says Melissa Piliero, a 24-year-old resident of Vineland, New Jersey. The idea with a credit card is you're essentially putting money down that you don't have. Well, no, I mean, you can use it that way, but if you're doing that over and over again, odds are you're going to get burned. If you have the money, well, then you spend the money, and it's called being responsible. Like many members of her demographic, Piliero is perfectly content with her debit card, a payment method whose existence has eaten into the credit card's market share. Debit eliminates that convenience advantage credit cards previously enjoyed, says Eric Lindeen, director of marketing at Zoot Enterprises, since traditional or prepaid debit cards are just as easy to use for making purchases or paying bills online. Here's the problem. And it's where convenience, and I don't know what the problem, I don't know what this is necessarily really indicative of as far as society goes, but this is where convenience supersedes being an idiot or not being dumb. Because here's the thing about debit cards, kiddies. That is like an open wound into your bank account. That's an open wound into your bank account. When you have a debit card, and I'll forget the criminal element of it in a moment, but when you're, let's say, drunk or high, and you buy a ton of crap with your debit card, that money is immediately taken out of your account. Completely. If you get blackout drunk, or blackout high, I don't even know if that's a thing, but you get blackout drunk, and you buy something completely ridiculous, right? You spend, you've got $10,000 in your bank account. Somehow you're a millennial with 10 grand in your bank account. You've got 10 grand in your bank account, and you get drunk, blackout drunk one night, and you buy $9,000 worth of bananas. It's gone. You wake up the next morning, the bananas have shipped, they're on their way, and the money is out of your account. Directly out of your account, not there anymore. Everybody who kind of agrees to give your bank account this superficial value agrees that you have $9,000 less than you did 24 hours ago, and it's gone. Gone. Now, you may be able to get it back. You may be able to say, well, hey, I was messed up, man. And I had no idea. I've never bought anything like this. I have no need for this. This was a ridiculous aberration of a purchase. Please, you can take the bananas back. Give me my money back. And you might win. You might. Where you got to go for that? You've got to take the bank to court. You got to take the bank to court You just say, oh, well, I didn't do it. And you have to hope you win. You have to hope you win. Otherwise, you're less $9,000. You got a crap load of bananas that you're never going to eat. You don't need that much potassium. Trust me. Everybody says when they get a cramp, well, you should eat a banana. You don't have that many cramps, even if you're a lady. Now let's introduce the criminal element of it. Home Depot just announced, just kind of, like, oh, we don't know, maybe, just announced that their payment servers, where your payment data resides on their servers. When you go to Home Depot, you pay with your debit or credit card. There has been an ongoing hack for months. They've been bloodletting your information. Not necessarily, not because they want to, but because there's been a security breach and they didn't know about it for months. Months. If you've got a debit card and somebody gets your debit card and is able to use it for this and that and the other things, that is money immediately taken out of your account. Now, you can say fraud protection. My bank offers me fraud protection. It offers me all these things. The money is still out of your account. And you have to hope that when you try to use the fraud protection services that your bank provides, that they don't internally investigate and rule that, no, we're not going to do that. Because it relies not on you paying out the money, on a promise. Because when you use a credit card, you're making a promise on your credit. Say, I will pay this at a later date. When you use a debit card, you're using real money. Or as real as it can possibly get in the digital age, outside of cash or check. Excuse me, negotiable instrument. And it's gone. It's not a it's the manifestation of the sales contract is not you paying out money, or the protection of the ultimate move is not you paying out money like it is with a credit card. It's you getting money put back into your account that was already taken out. And it's just silly. It's silly to just run around. Hey, oh, wow, I don't need a credit card. I just got my debit card. And that's a main line directly into your account. At least with a credit card, and also the other thing with a credit card, it's got limits. Set limits on it. You can do that with a debit card too. But again, you have a limit and the fact that you can ultimately say, no, that wasn't me. In the case of fraud, anything like that. So yeah, debit cards are really, really convenient. They're really, really convenient. Okay. But if you lose that bet, if you lose that convenience over security bet, well, you're screwed. You're screwed big time because the money's gone and you have to rely on other people to decide to put money in your account, back into your account, rather than just say, oh yeah, that's a fraudulent charge on your credit. We'll remove that, forgive it, and go on about your business. In final news here, we're going to talk a little bit. This is from Al Jazeera America. Missouri enacts a 72-hour abortion wait period. Missouri lawmakers enacted one of the nation's most stringent abortion waiting periods on Wednesday, overriding a veto of the legislation that will require women to wait 72 hours after consulting with a doctor before ending a pregnancy. The vote by Missouri's Republican-led legislature overrules the veto of Democratic Governor Jay Nixon, who had denounced the measure as extreme and disrespectful toward women because it contains no exceptions for cases of rape or incest. About half of the states, including Missouri, already have abortion waiting periods of 24 hours. The new measure fits the pattern of a series of restrictions promoted by anti-abortion advocates who seek to discourage women from undergoing an abortion by limiting access. While initiatives to overturn Roe v. Wade, the 1973 court order that struck down many laws banning abortion, have broadly failed, measures such as requiring parental consent and mandatory waiting periods have passed in many states across the United States. Missouri's new law will be the second most stringent behind South Dakota, where its 72-hour wait can sometimes extend even longer because weekends and holidays are not counted. Utah is the only other state with a 72-hour delay, but it grants exceptions for rape, incest, and other circumstances. Now, I am as pro-rape as you can get. I'm as pro, no, not as pro-rape as you can get. But I look at or excuse me, oh, God. Oh, no. Oh, God. I mean abortion. God damn it. No. I mean abortion. Pro-abortion. Not rape. Rape is bad. Rape is really bad. Ah, damn it. That was a slip of the mind right there. A bugger. I am very pro-abortion, I mean. Not pro-rape. Anti-rape. Very, very anti-rape. No rape for me. Oh, no. Rape is bad. God. I just want to explain that because I was thinking about it. I was trying to formulate my thoughts for a point I want to make in this spiel concerning rape and incest. And I screwed up rape and abortion. Ah, damn it. I'm not editing that out. You can have your fun with that one. Anyway, I am pro-abortion. I'm not totally pro-abortion as in like you know, it's a woman's choice. You know, you go whenever she wants, wherever she wants. I just look at, well, certainly with cases of rape and incest, that's obvious. I mean, you must have this child that you were raped. What? What? No. Violinist thought experiment just crushes that right out. But also I think, all right, well, let's say it's not a cape of rape and incest. It's just the woman wants to go on a trip. And she realizes the pregnancy is going to be a burden. Or, more likely, they see that there's medical side effects, there's a genetic deficiency with the unborn child, and it's going to be a lot more trouble than it's worth. The child isn't going to lead a good life. They can't provide for them, and They don't want to bring that kind of child into this world. Well, I think you have to side you have to come down on the side of women, of choice. Give them the freedom, the liberty to make that choice. And then you educate women and say, well, look, sure, you have the freedom, you have the ultimate freedom to get pregnant, and then, 7 months into the abortion, you realize you want to go to France for 6 months, and this baby's slowing you down. You can go ahead and get an abortion. You can abort that child. But that's really not cool. That's just, you can do it. We won't stop you, but people are going to shame you for that, and they probably should shame you for that. Do that kind of education. Increase the education on abortion, on safe sex, on all that, and then give people the ultimate freedom to decide. I think that's good. I like that. That seems, I don't think moderate, but I think that's that plays the field rather nicely of you have the liberty to decide, but you will also have the education starting very young to make an informed decision. To make a rational decision or a reasonable decision. I think that's best. But I want to know what is objectively disrespectful about saying, okay, you've decided to have an abortion. You've consulted with your doctor. We are going to have you wait. You've got to do it. You got to wait for 72 hours. You've consulted this doctor, and you've got to. You got to wait 72 hours, take some time, and think about it. What is happening in those 72 hours? What is the harm in asking people to wait and saying, okay, we're going to do this abortion in 72 hours. When you come back in 72 hours, this Planned Parenthood site, we will make this abortion happen. You will no longer be with child. And there's nothing illegal about it whatsoever. What's the harm? What is disrespectful about saying, but we will do it, but you've got to wait. Take some time to think about it. What's disrespectful about that? Because what you're doing in saying there should be a waiting period in an abortion, what you're saying is you should take some time to exercise caution. Think about this. Make sure it's the decision for you. Make sure it's the decision for your family. Make sure it's the decision for your health or the health of your unborn child or the life of your unborn child or prospective life, whatever. Take some time and think about it. Exercise caution and Be rational about it. Take some time to think. What about saying take some time to think about it is disrespectful? How is that disrespectful? That's like saying that mandatory waiting periods, 7-day waiting periods on gun sales so that you can't get pissed off, go to a gun store, buy a gun, and start shooting people that you're upset at. That's a cool down period. Hey, make sure you really want this gun because we assume you're going to use it somehow, and we want to make sure that use is for you, that use fits your cooler head, your rational mind. What about that is disrespectful? That's like saying, again, that mandatory wait periods on firearm sales are disrespectful to prospective gun owners. That's disrespectful. No, you just got to wait, and you can still make the choice. You come back in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, and you'll make the same choice. This Smith & Wesson will be yours. But we just want you to make sure this gun is a serious thing. We want to make sure that you have made all the proper decisions and you are in a right state of mind and that you have had proper time to think about this rationally. Think about your gun, your ownership of the gun, perhaps even your usage of the gun rationally. That's what we're trying to do here. So you want to go get an abortion in Missouri. Okay, no problem. I'm the best. You won't even feel it. It's great. It's like getting an enema. You feel good afterwards. I'm the best at it. However, Miss or Mrs., whatever, I want to make sure that you have made all the necessary decisions. Now, of course, if there's no case for a medical emergency, like it's a medical emergency, I am going to die because of something this child or this pregnancy is doing to me. If there's no exception for that, well then, okay, yeah, that is disrespectful to women. It's like, you've got to die for your child that you may have, been raped into conceiving. But other than that, I just want to make sure that you are taking the time to make a conscious decision. I'm not saying you can't make the decision. I'm not removing your ability to make the decision. I am just kind of influencing time and place. We accept time and place restrictions on every other right. Every other right. There are even exigent circumstances that circumvent the Fourth Amendment. Time and place applies to the First Amendment. Time and place and waiting periods, Second Amendment. I don't know what, I'm sure, there's martial law for the Third Amendment. There's martial law. I mean, we accept reasonable restrictions on liberties, on freedoms, on rights that we have all the time. But when it comes to what I deem to be 72 hours, it's 3 days. Again, outside of medical emergency, outside of I'm going to have this baby in 3 days and it's going to kill me. Outside that, it seems like a reasonable time and place restriction. But somehow when it's applied to women vis-a-vis abortion, it becomes disrespectful. It's not disrespectful to people to say, hey, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's not disrespectful. It's not disrespectful to gun owners to say, you should wait a while before you buy this firearm. But when we're talking about women, it's disrespectful to make them wait. They want this abortion now. They want drive-by abortions. Do it in the cars. Well, hold on now. Maybe we, the sovereign state of Missouri, maybe we should have a little bit of a say in whether people should go about ending the possible existence of citizens, of voters, of taxpayers. Maybe we should have just a little bit of a say in that. And we want to make sure that we're not going to say you can't make the decision, but we want to ensure that you have time to think about what you're really going to do. Somebody needs to explain to me how that's disrespectful because I just don't see it. All right, let's bring it home. All All right, another great edition of The Lefty Show. I thank you all for joining me. I had a great time putting on the show for you. I hope you had a great time listening. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, favoriting, subscribing on YouTube. YouTube.com/LeftyOX is where you can go to find the show and its YouTube formation, as well as gaming and vlogging content of the sort. Head on over there, YouTube.com/LeftyOX. Thank you to everybody that's been sharing the show with friends, family, and co-workers. Try it out for yourself. It really does help the show grow. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts for your PC, mobile device, or tablet, Android or iOS. It doesn't matter. Just search The Lefty Show wherever you get your podcasts, and you will be sure to find us there. Thank you to everybody that's been following me on Twitter. @Lefty643 is where you can do that. Twitter.com/Lefty643. And donations have been rolling in. Thank you guys for doing so. I'mRacing.com/643 Productions is where you can do that. Anyway, guys, that's my time. I got to get out of here. Thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed. Enjoy your weekends. I'll catch you next time. I'm out. Bye.